And welcome to Sin and Fin, the Dugout Decision Show.
And we are now joined by a very special guest, a man who floods everyone's Blue Jays Twitter feed this time of year, one of, if not my favorite beat reporters for the Jays, and now an author of the year, too. Keep that in mind. It is MLB.com's Keegan Matheson. What's up, Keegan? Thanks so much for joining us. How's spring been treating you so far?
It's good, guys. What are we now? We're talking a couple days left in February, so I'm getting close to my halfway point, I guess, if I'm being really optimistic. But no, good to be here, fellas. I appreciate you having me, and it's that time of year. There's a few different points where it feels like there's momentum in spring. Like I get here and it's exciting for a few days, and then I realize, oh man, I'm just gonna watch these guys stretch and take BP for how long? Now we're getting to that point with games. So guys will go to the WBC. There will be some stuff to freshen it up.
Yeah.
But it's getting to that point of the spring where I just start walking by guys and just saying, like, start the season, start the season. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Well, we'll get started with our first question here. You're a guy from Canada. It must be super surreal to cover your hometown Toronto Blue Jays. How cool is that to cover them, and especially in the World Series?
It's amazing, guys. Like I grew up a big Blue Jays fan, and I'm not a fan of teams now. It's just how my job works. And I promise that comes naturally. Like a lot of my buddies hear that and they think, oh no, you still got to be a fan. I'm not a fan of a team. I want a good story when I show up to work. And if the game's only 2 hours and 20 minutes, all the better. It's great. But all I want when I show up is a good story. But I still have to acknowledge that I grew up a huge Blue Jays fan and a little bit of a Red Sox fan because I was in Nova Scotia. It made sense at the time. In hindsight, terrible. But Mo Vaughn and Carlos Delgado were my guys growing up. I clearly had no defensive profile myself, so I was a DHs and first baseman sort of guy. But I would have grown up I would have been 2 or 3 years old when they won in 92 and 93. I don't remember it. I won't pretend to. So I grew up on all of those teams with Delgado and Roy Halladay when they had a few cool players, but overall it was not very cool. There was no playoffs, there was no runs. So it was kind of a fandom for me that was much more based on individual players. Carlos Delgado was my guy growing up, and I was always a sucker for whatever, backup catcher was OPSing 400 or whatever. But it's made me appreciate just how cool it is to do something like covering the World Series, because my entire life, essentially, I had not experienced anything like that. I had not watched anything like that. And I try to at least stay connected to the part of me that was a fan of a team. Like the way I explain it now is that I love baseball. I just don't care who wins, and it's important that I stay that way because when a team is only covered by people who are fans, you get worthless coverage, and there's way too much of that. And if I say more, I'll get in trouble. But there's enough of that already, okay? So I think it's important in my job to love baseball fully and completely and love the game, but to cover it objectively while still acknowledging that, like, it's an understanding of how much it means to people. Like the Green Bay Packers are the one team I always use as I'm an unreasonable, out of my mind lunatic fan of the Green Bay Packers. When
Wow.
they lose, my week sucks, right? It's important for me to keep that part of my brain still alive to understand that what Blue Jays fans are living and dying with every night. It's at times when I was a bit younger, I got too far from that and I got kind of bitter and jaded with it all. But I'm glad that I had the kind of the right brain in my head this year to cover the World Series, right? Because it was cool as hell. And it meant so much to so many people who, I mean, anyone under, like I'm 35 and I don't remember the World Series years. But that means anyone 37, 38 and under doesn't really remember watching those games. That's what, half of Blue Jays fans? So for so many millions of people, this was their big baseball thing, their big baseball memory. And to be around that was an honor, honestly. I will always remember it. Ideally, I cover something just a little bit cooler one day. We'll see. But amazing to get a chance to do that.
See, I can't imagine it. You can see behind me. I got the J stuff everywhere here. I even got it on my head. I got a mug right here that's got J stuff on it. I'm so attached to this team. You're in the booth, and when you're writing the stories that you're writing for the Jays, you can't cheer for the team. I can't imagine that. The aspect you do have,
Yeah.
though, which a lot of people don't, is Listen, you're right in there and you're speaking to the players, which I can only imagine how surreal that is.
Yeah.
Speak to us. And listen, I've heard some of the stories from your other interviews of some players that you may not have had a great disconnection with. It's going to happen with everyone. What's one guy maybe that over the years, maybe it's a new guy this spring training, or maybe it's someone over the years that you've seen that you've built a bit of a connection with?
Man, and you're right. Yeah, if somebody cheers in the press box, they will be dealing with me soon after. It is it's it's important to keep the line. And again, it's weird. Like even when I was getting into this industry, when I started at journalism school, I thought that was impossible. I was thinking, come on, like this is my team. I love this. But the example, and you really have to stretch it, is like if someone goes home from their job at night, do they keep doing their job type of thing? It does become work. Again, I let that go too far earlier in my career where I wasn't letting myself love baseball, but it does become work. And there is a certain element to guys of like the don't meet your heroes type of thing. And then you interview a few guys and you're like, oh, okay. All right. This is what he's like, So it happens. But I've been fortunate to cover some really good teams from a media standpoint. When I started out on the beat in 2017, there was like, go through that roster, fellas. I mean, Jose Bautista, Josh Donaldson, Russell Martin, Marcus Stroman, Dickey had just been around, Troy Tulowitzki. Every one of those guys would be the biggest personality in this clubhouse by far, right? And that was a clubhouse where like there was a chance that somebody was going to blow me up on any given day. And I kind of miss it, I'll be honest with you. That's happened to me a few times. I remember an older writer who I really respect and has been very good to me. I remember one of my first spring trainings, I got kind of rattled because this nobody reliever who was about to flame out got in my face about something.
Yep.
And this old writer said, he was like, Keegan, you'll be here longer than him. Don't worry about it. And, that was 7 years ago. I don't think he's thrown another pitch in the big leagues. And while I am making 1% as much as him, I stuck around. So it's okay. And I no longer care about that stuff because I at least don't think I'm going to do anything totally stupid. And if I did, I would stand in front of the guy and say, yeah, I effed up, man. Sorry. Like I'm not scared of that stuff anymore. It's baseball. It's not something serious, right? These teams have been really good. I am not someone who walks in on day one. Like there are some reporters, and it's just a personality type thing, who day one of spring training, hey, Dylan Cease, I'm Joe, I'm Mike, I'm Roger. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. This. No, man. That's not me. Like I'm not the life of the party guy that's going to network, blah, blah, blah. But by year 4 or 5, I feel like I develop a relationship with Kevin Gosman, with Chris Bassett down the road, where they understand that I'm always there. And I have the advantage of just always being there. And spring training is a good example because a lot of media come in and out for a week at a time. So they need to blitz guys. Hey, Kazuma, nice to meet you. I'm Jerry. Hey, good to meet you. Good to meet you. And I'm just kind of standing back like, okay, like these guys will figure out that I'm always here eventually. Like, whatever. I don't need to be in their face, right? So I always think of catchers and a lot of the veteran starting pitchers, on this team, certainly. Like Gosman being a great example. He's one of the best to work with that I've ever been around. And I respect the hell out of him. But sometimes I wouldn't mind someone just blowing me up just to spice up a week. I've even told John Schneider a few times, come on, just blow me up just for fun one of these times. Just like send a scare to the rest of the media. Just blow me up. Let's keep this thing a little more entertaining. But it's a very good group to be around. I'm lucky.
Yeah, there's a lot of slick guys on the team. Even last year with Chris Bassett and Bowden Francis is about like the coolest guy I've ever seen.
He
So
is.
bunch of different guys and a bunch of different personalities makes for a fun team. And got a bit of a personal question here. So I'm from Moncton, New Brunswick,
All right.
and you're from Nova Scotia. So from
Sorry to
an
hear,
NB
but congratulations on overcoming that.
from an NB boy to Nova Scotia boy, what do you love most about the East Coast?
Oh man. And I tell you what, there's a lot of East Coasters in media. And I give Gregor Chisholm, he's from St. John, a hard time. I
Oh
give New
wow.
Brunswickers a hard time. But even from my county in Pictou County, where New Glasgow is, Ken Reed from Sportsnet, Arash Madani's just up the road, Dan Robertson, the hockey broadcaster. Like, there's a lot of Maritimers, and I like to say it's just because
Wow.
we never shut up, and eventually some of us get jobs, never shutting up, and it's a good thing. But I also believe that people from the East Coast are natural storytellers, and I do think there's something to that. Man, what I miss about the East Coast. Now, one answer is that, my God, I miss Donairs, but more than I thought I would, I miss garlic fingers. Let me tell you. I knew that Donairs would not be in Toronto because they're not like Instagrammable enough or whatever. Look, I'm not. I am not the brand ambassador for Toronto. That's the way I'll say it. I'm not an influencer convincing people to live in Toronto. But I did not think I'd be without garlic fingers. Okay. And no, I do not want garlic cheesy bread. It's different. My God. That's one answer. The real answer is probably that I miss like a real sense of community. I find Toronto to be just a collection of 1 million angry people who don't care about each other and who kind of hate each other. Drive anywhere in Toronto. It's just a million people bouncing off of each other who don't care about each other. And
Yeah.
listen, I don't need it. I don't need everywhere in my life to be a fishing village of 200 people where everyone loves everyone. But yeah, I am happy living in Toronto because baseball is there and I'm very grateful. But my goodness, these are not my people. And it is so different for me. I've come around to appreciate and love it in its own way, but I battled with it early on, guys. I hated it. Hated living in Toronto. And I've had to kind of grapple with that a bit because it's just a different feeling, man, a way different feeling. Like Halifax to me is the greatest city in the world. Like it's the right size. You've got enough of a downtown that's like 2 blocks, but otherwise it's just a bunch of miles of houses. It's Toronto and the glass condo landscape is not for me. But despite my repeated requests, they have not moved a baseball team to Moncton or Newfoundland or Charlottetown or Halifax. So guess I'm stuck with it for a while, fellas, but garlic fingers would certainly soften the blow of living amongst the angry Torontonians.
I love it. See, I can resonate with that a little bit because I'm from Toronto, born and raised. And I made one trip when I think I was like 11 years old, went out with the
Yeah,
family to Halifax, got to see a bit of Dartmouth as well. And
best.
because I was so young, I would have gone with like the cliche answer, oh, it's just they have good lobster. Man, a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
places have good lobster, but I just, it's the East Coast, right? Of course they're going to have
Yeah,
good
man.
lobster. But listen, I have to ask. I got it right in front of me here. We got the book right here. Absolutely
Hey,
love
I
this
love
guy
it.
right here.
Thank you,
Absolutely
man.
love
Thank
it.
you.
I have to ask the Vladdy chapter between the two, because I know you broke it down between the current Vladdy and the prospect
Yeah.
Vladdy. And however many pages there were on that, there better be like triple that in the next book. Because, oh my God, speak to us a little bit about that 2025 run.
A lot's gone on, man. The updated version of the book, which I'll put this on Twitter like Monday or something. I don't care. It's been dripping out enough. But it comes out on May 5th, I think it is. So it's the same book with a big chapter added on 2025 and a few edits here and there. I'm sure there's chapters where I said, the Jays haven't been back to the World Series, so we had to touch it up a little bit. It's not a full new book, but I think it at least helps the book stand up for the next, 5 or 10 years. Or maybe they win a World Series and I have to write another damn book, which might kill me, but we'll see. I would do it. Um, a lot of the Vladdy extension talk is in that chapter. And the Vladdy prospect chapter, in a roundabout way, this is a strange one, but I kind of viewed that as like the COVID chapters, which are like, are they the book's 30 chapters? Is the COVID years and Vladdy as a prospect, are those among the 30 most important things in Jay's history? I don't really know. But I wanted to keep them permanent. Like those were two things that I've experienced in this job. I didn't cover Joe Carter's home run, okay? Like, I wasn't there. I was two. I wasn't there. That's a retelling. But I wanted some of this book to be from me and fresher stories. So I covered Vladdy as a prospect. I covered the COVID years and the Otani stuff. So I wanted some of those new things to be in there, and I'm glad that it was structured that way. But then when Vladdy signed the extension, I was thinking, oh God, okay, like great, here we go, because a book is very slow. Those chapters would have been written a year before. But I did get into the extension. and a lot of the run in the new chapter. There's a story in the new book. Maybe I put too much in, who knows? But the night of Vladdy's extension, how I was out enjoying a lovely evening in New York and probably having a little too much fun when I got the text to get back to my hotel. So I drank all the coffee in my hotel room and had to touch myself up real quick for TV. But it's always dangerous, always dangerous. But man, what a year! And I'm fired up, man. I'll get to cover Vladdy's whole career, hopefully here in Toronto. And I know that it'll be about, does he win a World Series ring? Frankly, I don't hold that against guys in baseball. Like, if we're talking about like Kevin Durant or something, sure. Okay. Like an NBA star, sure. If we're talking about Joe Burrow, a star quarterback, sure. I'm going to care about championships. In baseball, no. Like, Vladdy played out of his mind, okay, in the postseason. And there are superstars who just played kind of average but won a World Series anyways. I don't hold that against him, which is to say that by the end of his contract, he is going to be undisputably the greatest Blue Jays player to ever live. He's probably there in 5 or 6 years. Like he'll get there
Yeah.
quickly. So it's going to be amazing to cover his career and yeah, to cover him from when he was that single A Lansing super kid, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And listen, I'll admit, I need to get better with reading. I'm a student. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I need to get better at reading. This is something that I can read. And I don't care if the next book is 600 pages, 1,000
I like
pages.
it.
I'm reading
I
all of
like
it.
it.
Let's shift to some Jays news now. Very fresh. We're coming right out the gate last
Oh,
night. Max Scherzer's back. $3 million deal for
he's
1 year.
back.
From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong here, can reach up to 10 million with incentives. Is that right?
Yeah, 10 million more dollars. And
Okay.
it was reported today where it's kind of like starting at 65 or 75. I'll need to grab that, but $1 million per 10 innings. So there's going to be some
Okay.
high stakes starts late in the season, fellas. Like he he'll be out there his last start of the year needing like 5 2/3 innings for another $1 million.
Yeah.
Money is a great motivator. I like the contract at least.
Yeah.
Do I know how this is going to work and how he fits? God, no. I've been saying all week that I don't really see the fit right now short term, and I still stand by that. Like I'm not going to pretend to sound, oh, I knew this was coming. I hate it when people do that. I want to smack people when they do that. As I expected. Shut up. Put it out there. But I've been saying all week on radio and TV, so it's out there that like I don't really see it or get it, but this could work out eventually. And if it works really well, you pay him. If it doesn't work at all, you only pay him a few $1 million. So I think the
Yeah.
contract makes it more sensible. If they gave him just 13 million bucks right now, I'd be saying, "Oh my God, man!" But this contract structure, I think, is pretty sensible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the fit and sort of where he fits in that rotation because we know there's a log jam. But one narrative that
Yeah,
I loved, and you wrote a story about this today, it's one of the first things I thought when I saw Max Scherzer's daughter write a letter back in
Mhm.
December. Are we starting the new narrative of our players' daughters are just recruiting players to go to the Jays now? Because we saw it with Okamoto as well, right? His
Families
daughter
like
picked
it,
out the
man.
Jays. Yeah.
Honestly, when the Jays started all of this stuff with the renovations, family accommodations, and stuff, maybe I was just being cranky. I thought it was a bunch of fluff. Like every team is going to try to sell you stuff and market things. Um, Now listen, it's not going to make a player take less money ever. But it's kind of like we talk about with hometown discounts and stuff. They're not real. What they are tiebreakers. And if you are, that's why Toronto offers so much. Like, if you're 25 years old, dumb and rich, like, yeah, cool, come to Toronto. Go out on King West, blow your life up. Like, cool, great. But if you are Kevin Gosman and you have two young daughters, if you are Max Scherzer, I believe, has three young kids. What the Jays do for families really matters, man. I was kind of off on that early on. Like players just keep mentioning it to me, and I have to listen to them. So it's not going to make them take $2 million less, but most free agent negotiations aren't like blind bidding. Most of the time it's like, oh, okay, agent going team to team. Listen, we've got 2 years, 20 million on the table. Who wants to match it? Maybe the Blue Jays will just have to match it sometimes instead of paying 2 million bucks more or giving a third year, like that type of stuff. It matters to certain guys. And the Jays players, their partners, their parents, their families, their kids love the place, man. we're so far past the Canada narrative that like when people bring that up now, like when people ask Ross Atkins, "Oh, like has this changed how people view coming to Toronto?" I think, shut up, man. Like it's 2026. Get a Nexus card. Toronto's large and it's cool. Like what a we're way past that. It's not 1997, okay? But still, between teams, you hear it a lot more now with these big money deals, how teams treat families. And if a team treats a family poorly, then a player will have their parents complaining. Their wife will be unhappy with how they're accommodated in the stadium. The player will have to take care of all this crap, right? The Blue Jays, I think, do a very good job of just letting the player walk into the stadium and go be a baseball player. And they've got the families. They'll take care of the families. It's very smart. They do a very good job, and it's working, man. It's really working.
Yeah, and I was hoping it was going to be the tiebreaker for Kyle Tucker. It didn't turn out to be the
Yeah.
case, but going back to the Scherzer stuff, going into spring training, I thought that the big narrative was going to be Nathan Lucas. Where do you fit? Are you going to be traded? Now that we're in spring training, it's Eric Lauer wanting out.
Yeah.
Eric Lauer in a press conference saying, hinting that he may want a rotation role, and then speculation went around. What do you think Eric Lauer's role is, and is it with the Toronto Blue Jays in 2026?
Man, I I I feel for Eric Lauer in this situation because he is good enough to start major league games.
Yeah.
And while I still believe that he'll still figure out a way to make, start 120 innings or something, he'll still pitch a ton of innings. It's a very difficult spot for Lauer because he went and pitched overseas. He came back. He lost his arbitration case.
Mm.
Think of it like Ross Stripling. When Ross Stripling had the good year with the Jays, he signed, what was it, a 2-year deal, I think.
Yep.
And that was pretty much the last money he got. Okay. When I feel like we talk about mega deals so much, Vladdy for 500 mil, Shohei for 700, Soto for 700 plus, that we focus on that stuff. What I really care about are these players who are trying to get just one more deal or flip a 1 year into a 2 year. So if you're Eric Lauer, and this is why I have a lot of time for him and why I think that what he wants in this matters, because you got to take care of yourself. You're the only one who's going to take care of yourself. If he gets a 1 year, $6 million deal as a swingman next year, or a 2 year, $20 million deal as a starter with some upside, that changes his life and his family's life forever. You know, that difference of 10 or 15 million bucks, I feel like we're always thinking of that difference as like, oh, 500 or $515 million, which doesn't really matter. Okay. But in the lower end, guys trying to get one more deal, it really freaking matters. So I'm still confident he will pitch a ton, but with Bieber coming back too, and I think Barrios will at least be okay. Like, I don't know how this works, man. And it is a luxury spot for the Jays. And like, I don't have any information on trades or anything like that, but it makes too much sense for March 24th for some team that has a pitcher or two with elbow problems just to call the Blue Jays about Lauer, you know?
Yeah.
He'll be rock solid. He'll be better than what you get on the waiver wire or from some quad A prospect. The Jays would prefer to have him because he's really valuable. And more important, he's flexible. Like Max Scherzer, for example, he needs to be rigid on a program. Whereas Lauer can pitch on 2 days, then 9 days, then 1 day, then 3 days. Like it's a skill. It really is. So I hope it works out for him. You know, just as a someone who I really respect what he's done as a player, but it's a weird spot, man, because I feel like the last 10 times I've interviewed him, it's asking him about this type of stuff. When really I should be asking about him being a good pitcher, but like he just keeps being this odd guy that's being pushed out. It kind of sucks for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another part of the rotation that's a huge piece. New guy, we just brought it. We talk about Dylan Cease a lot, right? Because it's 7 years, 210 million.
Yeah.
Listen, the game wasn't broadcast yesterday, but I saw some highlights of Cody Ponce up to 97. What's your outlook for this guy? Because this isn't the same picture we were seeing from the Pirates in 2020 and 21. He figured something out. What do you see for him in 2026?
That's big time, man. And I think Ponce excites me more than any of these pitchers, if that makes sense. Like Gosman will be very good. Cease will be very good. If he comes top three Cy Young, I won't be surprised one bit at all. You Savage, we know what he does, but Rios is rock solid. Bieber is both good and motivated by free agency. Cool. But Ponce is like the wild card man that can really jack up the ceiling of this rotation. And if Ponce goes out, like maybe he struggles, it's up and down. He's got a 4.5 ERA or something. But if he really starts to dominate for some stretches, he's got a 3.4 ERA. He's striking out 10.5 per 9 innings. Like, damn, man. Like that's when this turns into a truly great, like top five rotation, is if Ponce is really good. And I believe that Ponce will be able to be a little flexible too. Uh, we don't know since he's coming back from full-time starting and he moved around in the minors. I want to see him just start, but we'll see with workload wise and stuff. But really interested by him, interesting dude, and all the upside in the world still because he's a way different pitcher than he was before he went over to pitch in Korea and Japan.
Yeah, I love all these high upside plays. It's not
Yeah,
only Cody Ponce, it's Kazuma Okamoto, which is very exciting as well. I feel like the Blue Jays for a long time just wanted super controllable
yeah.
starters who will give them 180 innings, like Chris Bassett. And now they're starting to take chances on Cody Ponce and Okamoto. Moving to something that is being implemented this upcoming MLB season, it's the ABS system. And I've seen YouTube reels, shorts, whatever, go around and ask the players, hey, do you like this? Do you think you'll actually use it, or are you gonna delegate it to your catcher? What have you gotten the sense that players like the ABS system?
I think they do, and I think that it's not going to be as intrusive as people think. It reminds me of when everyone made a big deal about the pitch clock. A week in, nobody cared, nobody noticed, and it's
Yeah,
honestly one of the best
yeah.
changes there's been. Number one, I think that way too many casual fans hear robot umpires and assume that it's going to be fully automated, earpiece in the umpires. And also, I think that the actual replay itself up on the big screen is going to be part of the game itself. Like it's cool. I've watched this play out in minor league parks. I'm seeing it in spring training now, where a hitter will tap his head, and suddenly it's like in tennis, where you're watching the zoom in on the line and the ball where it's hitting. Like everyone's jacked up, and it's quick. This is not like a safe or out review that takes a minute and a half and kills the game. Or it's not an offsides review in hockey where you're looking at camera angles and everyone is losing their buzz, right? It's 10 to 15 seconds. Immediately, everyone's looking up at the big screen together and it's either a close call or somebody looks stupid because they called for it and it was way off. Like it's really cool how it works out, man. I don't think it'll add maybe 1 minute to games, whatever. Everything's fine, but I do think it's good to leave a human element as well because umpires are extremely good at their jobs. No matter what your dumbest friend tells you, umpires are incredible at their jobs. Okay. Like watch an umpire head cam and just like try. Like, come on. So I think that this is good. Like the pitch that I envision, guys, like let's say the umpire is set up inside with the catcher, but the pitcher yanks it a bit. So they don't have a good view on the other side of the plate. And maybe they really blow it by a couple inches. That's what it's there to catch. Okay. Like this isn't about nitpicking little millimeters constantly. But if there's something that's egregious that they just didn't see right, you catch it, you move on. And I think people will no longer notice it by May. Like I think it just blends right in, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the tough part with the umpires is it's such nitpicky things. Like I struggle with it. You'll see
Yeah.
a guy make like two bad calls in the game and you want to put the guy in a pitchfork, man. But really, it's
Yeah.
like 98% of the time he's good. So there's been some guys like a Chris Sale or like a Logan Gilbert say, I'm never going to touch that. I'll leave it up to the catchers or I don't want that. Listen, it's really not doing anything in terms of the time. Like you said, it takes a couple of seconds really to decide,
Yeah.
okay, is it a strike? Is it a ball? So it's pretty quick. Moving to the Jays, though, here we are, spring training, man. We're trying to defend that golden grapefruit. It felt like there was a little superstition around the team, that because they won the golden grapefruit last year, that's why they went on their run.
It's not
So
going great so far. Let me
I
tell
was
you.
just gonna say,
Tough start.
like, what's the outlook for this year, just for the team in general, and how do you see the AL East playing out? And is there a little bit of that? Like, we kind of need to win the grapefruit to have a good year.
They better, man. Maybe when everybody gets out of here to the WBC, like maybe Vladdy and Ernie are the problems, like as I've expected all along. But man, the AL East is going to be brutal. And honestly, I think people are too quick to crap on the Yankees. They scored a billion runs last year. Okay, like you can't argue with what their offense did last year. And by midseason, they'll be getting back who? Garrett Cole, Cam Schlittler,
Yep.
and there's Rodon, I think, too. Like
Yep.
the Yankees are going to be
And
good.
Volpe
Oh
as well, I
boy,
think.
there we go. So like I know the Jays fans are all hopped up on Vladdy screaming the Yankees lose and all this stuff. The Yankees are still really good. They're going to score a million runs again, okay? And that's with Boston being better. Baltimore has to be better. The Rays will at least be annoying, like back to what they're usually being. So we could see another one, like I'm trying to think, like 2021. Remember, the Jays were the one that just missed, but I believe that was when
Yep.
a bunch of teams are up over 90 wins, and that really turns into a bloodbath very quickly. And on top of that, everyone's going to give the Blue Jays their best because they are up there with the Dodgers now, right? So it's going to be a very draining season, I think. And if there's one thing that I want to remember this year, it's like think of the tiebreakers. All we talked about was tiebreakers down the stretch last year. When they play the Yankees in April or whenever the first series, it really, really matters. Like I almost view those as like if there was like an in-season tournament, like an NBA Cup, like those games really matter. Like if the Blue Jays are even making decisions about which pitchers to use, like if you can line up better pitchers with the Yankees and stuff, chances are that season series is going to be 7-6. And chances are that's going to hold a lot of power on September 20th or something. So those are big all year. And man, the Jays have a bullseye on them, man. It's going to be a hell of a season. Like I still would pick the Blue Jays to win the East, but what am I picking them by? 2 games? Like, come on. That's pretty much just me picking the incumbent. The Yankees are really good, and people don't want to accept it, but they're really good.
Yeah, and I'm just counting down the days until Rob Manfred goes for the geographic division realignment. And we got the Minnesota
Oh,
Twins, we got the Cleveland Guardians in our division. Boy, oh boy, would that be
Sounds
fun.
like the worst travel schedule of all time for me. Spending my life in the Midwest. I might find a new job, but that would be better for them. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's move to some hot takes. We got some hot takes here, just
All
some
right.
things we didn't expect or some hot topics here in spring training. So the first one is Eloy Jimenez. Nobody really thought of Eloy Jimenez.
Yeah.
I think he was signed at the end of last season, and the guy hasn't had a healthy season in forever, and he shows up to camp looking like he lost a lot of weight, and boy, has
Yeah, I
he been
did.
hitting the ball like crushed Brian Bayo a few times, which was crazy. So does Eloy Jimenez have a spot on the Blue Jays roster?
I don't think so. Every year there's one of these types of
Yeah.
like fringe quad guy, and it's exciting to talk about the bat. And I don't want to dismiss it entirely. Like I think he has set himself up so that he can be a real option from AAA. And this Jays team, like think of Brandon Belt, Ty France last year, Daniel Vogelbach, who they've rostered. Like the Jays have shown an openness to rostering a pretty limited guy as Vladdy's backup or another bench bat. Like it's possible. Eloy Jimenez is not a defender. He's not a runner. So he's got to absolutely mash. But the DH spot needs to be there for George Springer, probably Vladdy once a week. So you're really getting into lots of niche there if you're rostering him. Um, I understand he's the hype guy, and I understand that like Twitter scout chart guys are really into it, and I get it. I get it. But it's wild though. Like you think back 2019, top three prospects in baseball are Vladdy, Tatis, and Eloy Jimenez. Like that was a way different world. But still, I can't completely dismiss it. He's helped himself 100%. And if one guy goes down, like one guy gets injured, Eloy Jimenez is right there. He'd be up against essentially Leo Jimenez. Are they going to keep another infielder? I don't know. I think they're waiting for Leo Jimenez to do anything, frankly. It could just be Ben Cowles to hold that spot or something, right? It could be Josh Kasevich eventually. They've also got a billion outfielders, right? But he's just limited. So you got to be Barry Bonds, man, if you're going to just be a DH type. on a team that already has DHs. So it's tough, man. But I'd love to see it. Like, cool story, and he does look a lot better. Even when you just look at his headshot, and then I look at the guy in the clubhouse, I'm like, oh man, like you did something right. So it's a very cool story, and good on him, man. He's really doing it right.
Yeah, and that's the tough part. I think there still might be a stick in there, but where are you going to put him in the field, right? He kind of is stuck to that DH role, and
Yeah,
we have a plethora of DHs. Who we have as well, and a plethora is outfielders. We got too many of these guys, honestly.
way too many.
Speaking of the outfielders, though, we did a pod a couple weeks ago, and we predicted who we think is going to lead the team in home runs. We're of the opinion that George Springer isn't going to do it again. I think the
Uh,
obvious pick is Vlad. Is he ever going to reach 48 again? I don't know. I'll take him leading the team with like 35. Christian went with an interesting one. He went with Dalton Varsho. I went with Addison
yeah.
Barger. I think these are two guys that can just pop off power wise. Would you say those are fair picks, or is there maybe someone we're not even thinking of?
No, absolutely, man. Like Varsho, what did he do last year? 20 home runs in 71 games or something.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And he, plus he's a pending free agent. No matter what, any sport, anything, bet on a guy who's playing for a contract every time, every time. Okay. Like you're never going to find a more focused individual than someone with tens of millions of dollars on the line. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I can put $5 on an NBA game and I'm locked in for the night like I'm playing. Okay. You want to put 20 or 30 or 50 million bucks in the balance? A guy is going to lock in. Dalton, I think, will have a great year. Barger's the one that could just go bananas. I wouldn't expect it to be George. Vladdy, we'll see. But I like Dalton as a pick, and I bet the odds there would be pretty interesting. But man, like if Dalton can hit 30, which he totally like, he is pound for pound maybe the most powerful hitter on the team. Okay. Like Vladdy overall more power, but like pound for pound, man. Like if the Jays had like a wrestling tournament, I think Dalton would win. He is just built, absolutely built. I know he's a smaller guy, but he's so strong. And he's hitting a bit to the opposite field in spring, which I know is another real field day for Twitter chart scout guys, but like we'll see if it happens. We'll see. I don't know, man. But it's a great start. And if he hits 30 home runs with gold glove caliber defense, I mean, his price range goes to another world, man, which would be good for him. Smart man, Green Bay Packers fan. So I wish him every success. But
Yeah, I'm probably one of those Twitter chart guys you're complaining about. I love
never.
analytics, love velo. So
No, I'm really just crap talking just a couple specific people I can't stand. Don't worry about it.
I love velo. I think it was a few years ago when the Jays signed Julian Fernandez and another guy, just
Oh
two guys
wow,
who could
yeah.
throw extremely
Yeah.
hard, but like nowhere near the strike zone.
And I
And
will say
here,
that in spring training, that's the one thing that does matter.
yeah,
Pitcher stuff matters in spring. And like if I'm watching like Spencer Miles or Angel Bastardo, like I feel like if you want to get into the fancy stats, like pitcher velo and movement might be the one thing I care about in spring.
yeah,
Like George Springer taught us last year that what you actually do hitting doesn't matter. I don't care a ton about Eloy Jimenez's exit velocities. I know like any big boy is going to hit 110 or something, like that's good, but it's in there. But like I've got all the time in the world for like pitcher movement, velocities. Like we saw today, Brandon Little was pumping up like 98.
yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Like if he's doing that, like up, up, up. Like Cody Ponce's velo and some of his movement, like that's the stuff that actually matters in spring training because hitters, unless you're like a prospect trying to make a team, like what George Springer did last year just taught me, like, it doesn't matter, man. Like as long as you trust the hitter, it doesn't matter. But the pitcher stuff, I think, really does, especially when you need them to be like a hitter can kind of like catch up through April and May. A reliever or something can't just be like at 90% in April, right? Or they will get cut.
Yeah.
So I'm much more into that. And the Jays are having some real exciting numbers there. But like with Littles today, especially, like I saw that and I thought it was a mistake, man. Like good for him.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up Angel Basardo and Spencer Miles
Yeah.
because that's what my question was. It's which of them because they're two really fun Rule
Yeah.
5 guys. If they're not on the roster, they got to go back to their old team. So which of the two, both, maybe neither, would you think would make the opening day roster?
Man. It's funny. I remember I was over at a backfield the other day and it was Angel Bastardo versus Jesus Sanchez.
Hmm.
And boom, 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 three swinging strikes on high fastballs, all
Wow.
96,
Oof.
97. And I'm like, oh man, this is the guy. And then Alejandro Kirk just waddles up and takes him 500 feet to dead center, like first pitch on just an absolute cookie. It couldn't have been more middle. I was like, oh, well, okay, cool. Like, maybe this stuff doesn't matter much. Right now, man, I'd still take the under 0.5, but there's a real chance. Between the two, I'm a little more intrigued by Spencer Miles. I know there's massive amount of unknown there. I'm really intrigued by that option. But right now, and let me make sure I don't forget anyone, but we're thinking without Jimmy Garcia, it's Hoffman, Varland, Rogers. Then you go through Brandon Little, Mason Fluharty as the lefties. Probably, I got to put Eric Lauer in there, and I feel like I
Yeah.
need Braden Fisher in the bullpen, which brings us
Yeah.
to about an eighth spot. Chase Lee's interesting, but he has options. Tommy Nance
Yeah.
does not have options, and Tommy Nance was good last year. So I think you eventually get to a conversation of pretty much who do you want to give up? Like, do you want to risk losing Tommy Nance? I think a team would pick up Tommy Nance. He's more of like an analytics darling than people give him credit for. I think people just see a big dude with a beard and think he's like a slop long reliever. Like, no, he can like spin up some stuff, man. Like he's good. I like him, and he dropped some weight too. I'm excited to see him.
Okay.
But when you when you look at Nance versus Lee, I think Nance has the edge just on. And remember, like they always make those decisions week one, right? Like where it's like, let's keep a guy. Maybe we'll sneak someone through waivers a week from now, type deal. I would give Nance the edge over Lee, and then I, I'm more curious about Spencer Miles. I want to see him a bit more, but I still think I would lean towards someone like Nance. And I like the experiment they're doing with both of these guys. Chase velocity, chase upside.
Yeah.
But if one more reliever goes down, then I think you automatically do a Rule 5 guy. Like no matter what, you just try it, you know? And then at that point, it's pretty much just an extended Rule 5 tryout. If you have three bad outings, like whatever, just go back to your other team. It's easy, right? But if you got something, man, like that's like finding relievers like this is so important. I talked to a lot of people about this around camp, just like developing Mason Fluharty and Braden Fisher
Hmm.
and stuff like that. That saves you $8 million each guy. You know, like developing a few relievers saves you from going out and having to chase a Chad Green or something. Like that money adds up, man. And when it adds up to 20 million bucks, that's Kaz Okamoto, right? Like it's such an important piece of roster management, and the Jays are finally doing a really good job of that. And I mean, what are we? 4 weeks from opening day, something's going to happen. You
Yeah.
know, I'm
Yeah.
not wishing ill on anyone, but we know how baseball works. Something's going to happen. And if one more spot opens up, I would no matter what give it to a Rule 5 guy. Right now, I'd lean Miles, but dude, it's wide open. He's thrown one inning in the pros. Like this could look
Yeah.
like anything for the next month, but I'm fascinated by it. Probably the two most interesting pitchers in camp right now. Now that Tiedemann's down for a bit, like those are the two I want to see the most.
I'm just of the opinion that we don't have to see a Dick Lovely and a Jacob Barnes on opening day. Let's just get past that. And I think there's more
I can't
potential with
believe they
Miles
were
and
on it.
Bastardo.
Unreal.
Yeah, crazy. Listen, Keith, this has been an absolute pleasure. I have to leave you with one last question here. We've talked a lot about Okamoto in spring training,
Mhm.
obviously. A little bit of a new Selly today. I'm seeing a little like stir up the pot going on at second base. I don't know what he's doing there. We have the nicknames, obviously. We love his daughter, everything about him. He's hitting a lot in like the 6, 7, kind of 8 hole in spring. I know we don't take a lot of stock into lineups in
Yeah.
spring. Do you think this is a guy that can be hitting cleanup by the end of the year?
I do. I think there's even days he could hit number two, like if he's crushing lefties or something like that. I don't know who hits number two, and it's probably maybe Barger against righties, Okamoto lefties, like maybe you're doing something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm really high on Okamoto. Like I think he's going to be the most fun part of my job for years, honestly. Like covering Vlad, he's a blast, but I've done a lot of it. Like Okamoto and the Japanese media he brings around. It's just so cool. It's so different. His swing is gorgeous. It is such a nice swing. And if his April and May and June aren't great, like I urge people to be patient with him and give him some space and time. Like if you picked me up and dropped me at a newspaper in Japan tomorrow and told me to do my job, I would suck for a while, okay? And that's not even getting to the skill of the job. All right. So there's a lot for him to adjust to. And I have a lot of time for that. And every pitcher he sees is going to be brand new. But I think he is smart. I think he's incredibly talented. And I think he is I think he is a true, he has the air of a true big leaguer, true star. I've been around guys who are overwhelmed, and I can see it in their eyes that everything's a little bit scary around him. He's in control of every room, man. He is a star baseball player. Behind Otani and Yamamoto and the big dogs, he's right there. He is one of the Japanese stars. I hope he has a monster WBC. I think that would be really cool. I'm not going to miss a Team Japan game. That's my first one I want to see. So he's been amazing to be around. And like I said, maybe the start's a bit slow, but by August and September, I'm betting he's a lot better. And I'm willing to bet he'll be a fan favorite right away. Vladdy likes him, so he's okayed by Vladdy, so he'll be okay with everybody, I think.
Love it. I can't wait to see his season and what that turns out to be. Yeah. Keegan, listen, we really appreciate you joining us. What an absolute pleasure. I'm going to write that down, May 5th. I can't wait to see the book come out again. Listen, you're my guy. I need my Twitter updates on the Jays. You're where I go. So guys. We'll have to have you on again sometime. This has been a pleasure talking ball, and all the best for 2026.
Definitely, fellas. Hit me up anytime. Appreciate you having me, and see where the season takes us, guys. You never know.